Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 8. Week 8 is going to be a lot like your week 7. So there's nothing really new for me to introduce you to because you are already in the middle, hopefully, of your material that needs to be completed for this week, which is working with Module 14, Exploring Spatial Data. So if you want more of a look of what's in that module, head over to that module to watch that specific introduction video that has been up since last week. The new thing that's on here for the weekly update is I just wanted to give you guys some comments from me from the past couple weeks. So number one is your games. And I will admit to you that every semester, this is my most fun assignment of the entire semester because I get to see each of your individual creativity when you get in and you kind of play these games and script out these games. And this semester, I placed the game in a slightly different place in the semester, and I have been really pleased with how much you each have been able to put into your games. So, and I will be honest too, that some of you find things that I just have never even had a need or a reason to go out and find. So it's a complete learning experience for me as well. So I really enjoy seeing the scenarios you guys come up with, and then also seeing the additional things that you are able to bring to the table when it comes to the scripting and the Python code. So great job. I'm glad everyone, for the most part, got out there and played some games from your classmates and really gave the person who wrote the script some really nice feedback, highlighting what it is that you liked about it and in the coding specifics that you learned. And I was even more excited to see that many of you mentioned physically opening the script and reading it. So if you liked something, you went back and you read the script to see how the person did it. And that is exactly how you learn how to code once you're done with school. You go out and you find code that someone else wrote, and you're like, this is doing something I like. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to try to decipher it and see if I can pull and tease some things out of here and test them out in my own script. So 2 thumbs up. Really nice job, everyone. Some other things are that I've had several students that have sent me emails that their script is having errors and we can't figure out what's happening. And what it turns out to be is that they are running their scripts in Python 2 instead of Python 3. So remember the whole sordid details here, the storied story of ArcMap and ArcPro. ArcMap, which is likely on the computer that you're working on as well, is desktop GIS software, been around since the year 2000, and it is coded in Python 2. ArcPro, been around for a little over 5 years now, is the new desktop GIS software, but it is coded in Python 3. So 2 versions of Python, at least 2 versions of Python, are on your computer if you have both ArcMap and ArcPro. And if you have other Windows-based software on there, you probably have other versions of Python installed with those other software packages. So you have to be really careful about what Python installation it is that you're running things out of. You're getting to a point in the semester where, particularly this week, where you're working with F-strings and with some of the printing code and with the ArcPy tools. ArcPy tools are slightly different sometimes in Pro than they were in ArcMap. So you need to make sure that you are pulling from the Python 3 installation that is actually installed with ArcPro. So you were driven to this location way back at the beginning of the semester, some of the documents on the Canvas site, and then also in exercise 2, that big long PDF from the textbook at the very beginning of the semester where we kind of got settled. But here's where that is again. You want to make sure that whatever shortcut on your desktop that you're using to access Python, the idle, comes from this location. All right, so make sure, go back and check on all of that to make sure that you are working out of the correct Python 3 idle. Also, as always, feel free to email me with any questions. Best practice for emailing me with questions that has to do with your code is attach your code to the email. And then also, if your code is generating an error, take a screenshot of that error and send that in the email as well. That just reduces the amount of time we kind of have to back and forth before I can answer your question, because often what I want to be able to do is try to decipher that error message to see where in your code things are going wrong, and then I go back and I look at your code. So just do those 2 things for me and our back and forth will be a little bit less. And the last thing is just to remember that shapefiles, those data sets that end in the .shp, cannot live in a geodatabase. So if your workspace is set up to be a geodatabase, that .gdb, you need to just be saving feature classes, which is just a dataset name with no file extension. If your workspace is set up to be a file folder, then what you save inside of there is going to most likely be a shapefile with a .shp extension. So that's just a quick reminder. That's going to come up this week in module 14 as well. So finally, just keep up the good work. You guys are doing really great. I feel like you guys are having a really nice semester in this class. And just keep up the good work and keep up the good questions. So if you have any questions here as week 8, as this material wraps up, don't hesitate to let me know. Hopefully I will see and hear from you guys soon.